So yeah, I did a thing while I was away from this channel, Aiden, and this is the VG Punk channel. As you can see, I managed to get top 4 and more specifically the second spot, the runner-up in BSF Long Beach, and Jesus, that's my first time ever top solo, like by myself. It was pretty nerve-wracking. I did not expect me and this deck to do this well, so let's get on to it. Of course, to no one's surprise, we are using the V Premium Starter, the one that lets you draw a card whenever it's rode upon, and if you're going second, which we like to do, you're gonna get a quick shield. Now, with me saying that, you probably would have guessed that I prefer going second with this deck, because to be honest, for the main grade 3 Harri, outside of the fact that he made an Excel marker for us and he turned our Excel marker into a stage, we never really use his axe skill. So going first is actually like detrimental to us. Like, that's kind of like, ugh, I kind of don't want to. And throughout the 11 round that I have to go through, 8 Swiss and 3 of the final rounds, I only went first like 3 times at most, and I think one of those times I actually lost. Oh, if you're here, you should know what he does, yeah. But yeah, he's the only grade 3 that we can go into because of, you probably would have guessed, this deck used Crest. And then the second grade 3 that we're playing is Megacolony Chimera. I tech it in here because I wanted a way to countercharge and a way to put stuff back into the soul if it doesn't go back to the soul through Magia. It came up here and there. There was that once or twice where I was under Hanali and I need like to counterblast in order to attack, and he did come in handy then. The only thing that I really use him for is to, if my cat in high boots, spoiler, it's in the deck, if my cat's in high boots, it's happened to be out on the field but I need it back in the soul, somehow I just use Megacolony Chimera. He's a good solo attacker by himself and he doesn't really need a booster, but a booster is always nice. And then, like his name suggests, this guy is the star of the show, Starry Pop Dragon. He get 5k for each of my rear guards with Magia doll in its different name. It doesn't happen often, even though I do play some Magia doll. And then when he is placed on the stage that the grade 3 Harri made, he give me an extra imaginary gift marker, an XL. That's the one that we're gonna focus on more. Even his third effect, the one where if he's 40k power or greater, he get a crit and the Sentinel denial. That effect is great, but it's really the second effect that we care about, the imaginary gift. I create imaginary gift like it's nothing. The third effect, the 40k plus crit effect, that's only really there for show, unfortunately. Like, it's there and the opponent is wary of the effect, but it actually never came up because most of my attack hit such big number outside of Starry Pop Dragon due to the crest that it overwhelmed the opponent. And you might also say, why did I choose the stage Harri instead of regular Harri or mass phantom, where I could possibly make multiple front row unit with the Excel marker? That's great. That a lot of attack is great and very powerful, but 4 attack is like, that's still pretty good. But knowing how this deck is run, as you're gonna see, it's actually more than 4 attack. I don't need, physically, I don't need quantity in the front row. I need quality in the front row because I could just call over my unit if I really need to do more attack, you know, which I will, because one of our main grade 2, Lord Pigeon Pop, he's the pigeon that gonna turn into the dragon. When he's placed, I can put a Magia doll from my drop zone into the soul. It came up here and there just to avoid them getting bind by Narukami, if I happen to discard them somehow, or what I would like to do is I just throw a Magia doll. When I attack in the early game, I just throw one down to attack my opponent grade 1. And if they happen to get retired, I put it back into the soul with Lord Pigeon Pop. The Magia doll and the Lord Pigeon Pop, that effect to put Magia doll into soul is just there. So if I have any soul blast effect like the Comicality Chimera, I just use that for it. So I technically doesn't lose soul because I put down Lord Pigeon Pop all the time. Like I call him out like at least twice a turn. And then it's his secondary effect that we really care about, because at the end of the attack, if he is on the stage that Harri create, I can counterblast one and return him to my hand, search my deck, soul or drop for Starry Pop Dragon, and the dragon pop out onto the stage. That's how we get multiple attack with the Starry Pop Dragon. So as we move on, you can see that I don't actually use counterblast that much outside of a few cards, and because all of my counterblasts go into Lord Pigeon Pop, because I would attack with him, bounce him back, call Starry Pop, and then later on with the other stride, I put him back into soul to call him out again and then do the same thing again. So he eats up 2 of my counterblasts all the time, but we're trying to go for the kill on second stride, so the counterblasting doesn't really matter. Yeah, he's a 9k body, so I guess do be careful if you have to ride him to attack against like a force deck, but it didn't come up that often, fortunately for me. And then the next one is Knife Strike Pardos. He's the cycles of card that every clan get, where you just ditch him at the beginning of your ride phase in order to check top 5 for a grade 2 or lower. Do I ever use his first effect to call something from the soul? I did once, but I was pretty ahead and I was pretty free with my counterblast, so I did that once in 11 games. So no, I don't really use that effect a lot. It's the second effect that not guarantee, that really increased my chance of getting my crest maker, which is Betty, the great one. If I don't see Betty in my opening hand, I hope to see Pardos to hopefully get Betty, because if we don't get the crest, the number that I hit is like not as high as I want it to be, not lethal, I would say. So unfortunately, this card is very important, and I don't think it is replaceable at all in any Harri build that play crest. The next grade 2 that we're gonna play is 3 of Dancing Princess of the Night Sky. Her effect is that when she is placed on the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, you can counterblast 1 and search for a grade 2 or less Pale Moon card and shove it into your soul. Now, why do I play the number that I play? When I test it at 4, I keep on seeing it, and then when I test it at 2, I barely see it at all. So I try 3 and it just hit the right note, because honestly, outside of like the first time in a game that I used Dancing Princess, the second and third time don't really need it that much. She is basically a vanilla after I use her first copy, because really the one thing that I'm looking for to put in my soul almost every single time is Cat Knights in high boots, because that card is amazing, and she's a way for me to search it. Now if Cat Knight is already in the soul, or if I need to search for something else because of a niche issue I was in, she can do that too. Outside of that, like I say, she's an 8k grade 2 vanilla. Of course, she's not that small when she attacks because we have the crest. And then for the last grade 2, I played 2 of the Jumping Jill. As you can tell, my grade 2 count is pretty even to my grade 1 count, as you're gonna see. And the reason why is I played Jumping Jill over Purple Trapezes. Purple Trapezes is a fine choice. If you want to play with her, that's actually a great choice. But the issue is she's a grade 1, and I already run a lot of grade 1 in the decks. So I choose Jumping Jill over Purple Trapezes, and her a grade 1 that I'm gonna show y'all, and Cat Knight in high boots. The 3 of them help me get 3 warm body onto the rearguard circle with Cat Knight going back into the soul for later on. So that's really why I run them, or I run her. Like I say, purple trapezes work well too. It does the same job that Jumping Jill does, except it's a great one. And you only need to play 2 because I only need to see 1 in the soul, aka I can fetch it with Dancing Princess of the Night Sky if I really need it. But most of the time she's there if I really need it. Alright, moving on to the great one. The record holding most of the money in the deck is Midnight Melody Tamer Betty. It is our crest maker from the standard Stride deck set. You know her, you love her. She recently got restricted with the OG Harri. That's why I have to play the V Premium Harri. on place on the Vanguard, when you ride her on top of Happiness Collector, that's also why we play Happiness Collector as our starter. You get to draw a card and I can get a Harri crest. Now, she's one of the reasons why I like to go second, because this card plus going second built a huge hand. What, I draw 2 off of her effect, the Great Zero. Yeah, I draw 2 off of her effect plus the Great Zero effect, and then I get 2 of the. I get the Quick Shield and the shield we get from Harmonic Messiah to my hand. That's 4 cards in my hand to play defensive while I still poke them for a lot, because I like to throw down my great one earlies, as we already established. Now we play 2 of the Masquerade Bunny. She is also from the Stride deck set. Now her first effect is very good and very useful. If I ditch anything for Stride, let's put the sparkly one in the front. If I have to ditch a card from hand to Stride, she can be considered a grade 3. Amazing. Doesn't happen a lot, but it's still there. It's really the second effect that I care about, because I have to ride onto Harri, because the crest says so. She allowed me to just discard her to search for a Harri during my grade 1 or grade 2 turn, so I can guarantee my Harri. Now, Pardos, the Panther from earlier, can also search her out. So say if you already have Betty in hand and then you draw a whole bunch and you still can't find Harri, but you Pardos into a Masquerade Bunny, or you Raw Dog draw a Masquerade Bunny, you just ditch it and find your Harri for your grade 3 turn, which is great. You only need 2. You don't really need more than this, and any more than 2 is starting to feel a little bit of clunkiness. Next, it is 2 of the Stride deck set for standard Cutie Paratrooper. Now, I wanted to play the regular Paratrooper from the OG day, but she doesn't fit in as well as this Cutie Paratrooper, unfortunately, because this Cutie Paratrooper act as a pseudo purple trapezes, she have Magia, which is kind of important. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle other than during the battle phase, so you can't do multi-attack shenanigan. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Harri in its name, any Harri, including the V Premium Harri, I can put a rearguard with a different name from this unit into the soul, and then I choose a different card that's not the thing I put into the soul and call it out, and it is considered to be under Magia, which means I'm going to put it into the soul at the end of the turn. This is great because say I have her in the soul somehow, I call out Cat bring her out, she will put Cat back in the soul, and then I can bring out what's her name, Jumping Jill. Jill will put Cutie Paratrooper back in the soul to allow me to call out Cat. Cat will bring out Cutie Paratrooper again, putting Cat back in the soul and bringing out something else that can boost Jill basically, or another attacker, which is great because I have 3 warm body right there just for striding or riding. And the most important thing is that Cat is back in the soul, so it's not gonna stay on the field because it wasn't called out through Magia, blah 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 blah. So yeah, I get 3 body on the field, and then Cat is still in the soul for my shenanigan later down the line. Unfortunately, it's not an infinite combo, or else I would have 2 infinite attack including my Vanguard, but what can you do? So yeah, I think this card is great and people should explore with it. assuming you play Harri and you play the crest. My deck, I did run into another Harri, but it is the OG Harri because they gave up crest for the ability to stride first when your opponent is at grade 2. I think people are overestimating that ability, the one that allowed you to stride while your opponent at grade 2 if you're running OG striders. But hey, the guy made it to top 4 as well, so I'm not gonna say anything negative about that. He proved his method also worked. Then the next 3 card is the only Magia doll that I play. Magia doll, Cutie Paratrooper, Flying Peryton, and Darkside Mirror Master. You can consider these my tech. If you decided to copy my deck list, you can definitely substitute these out for something else. Not Purple Trapezes, or else you're gonna have to take out Jumping Jill. They're my Soul Blast target if I have to Soul Blast for Comicality Chimera or whatever. They're also 10k shield if I need shield early in the game or even later in the game, and they put themselves into soul after I use them as shield. I would say the drawing effect and the countercharging effect for Flying Peryton and Darkside Mirror Master respectively, they're important, but it doesn't happen a lot. If you feel like these aren't up to par, you can definitely substitute them for something else. They're just there to like allow me to early game. So like I say, these are my tech. Even I'm probably gonna change these out soon because I really don't feel like they help. If anything, you can replace the Cutie Paratrooper and the Flying Peryton Magia doll with Darkside Mirror Master, just so you can have countercharger when you going through a Hanali turn. And then honestly, besides Starry Pop Dragon, Cat Knights in High Boot is the other star of the show. This card is so good. Honestly, I talked to the other guys that top with Harri. I think this card could possibly get banned or heavily restricted because it is so good. It's like if you stride, he gave you a free body and he pull out another friend. That's honestly scary because you can do this mid-battle, and Lord and behold, the Pale Moon Dark Lord Princess allowed you to place another stride on your Vanguard mid-battle. So that means if Cat Knight in High Boot can go back into soul, you get another Cat Knight effect. That is crazy. Anyway, honestly, if you decide to play Pale Moon at all, any variant of Pale Moon, even Silverthorn, I recommend picking up a copy of Cat Knight. Like, this card is amazing. By itself, it can give you 2 warm body, and with like some other modification, it can literally bring your whole feel out. That's, oh my god, that's crazy. Anyway, 1 Elementaria Sanctitude. This deck draw a lot, and it consistently kill at second stride, which means drawing into Elementaria Sanctitude is like really necessary. If you can have a free PG against your opponent second stride, then you're golden. Honestly, you're good. I managed to draw this off of like 7-ish game during that situation where my opponent is going to their stride, plop down an Elementaria Sanctitude, easy PG. Unfortunately, no matter what deck you play in Premium, you will need one of these bad boys. I wonder where my SP version of Elementaria Sanctitude goes, so I could just put it in this deck. It certainly deserves it. Alright, and then the triggers. We're gonna run through this quickly because I think it's kind of obvious, kind of not. We have 4 grade 3 heal trigger. I think most decks should run that. You can argue for one of those weird heal trigger. 4 of the crits that can be ditched as stride. Nothing special there. Now, 3 of the Darkside Swordmaster, the one that if it is revealed as a damage check, you can draw a card. Why do I run 3? I run 3 because I run 1 Diabolos Girl Natalie. Now, the front trigger is not what I really care about. It's the fact that she is a 20k shield. I hit the front trigger once in the whole 11 game. It was powerful, but it was the other 10 game I drew it into my hand, and that 20k shield it really helped, because sometimes the opponent hit a really weird number that a 20k shield is like perfectly hit in. And then lastly, we got 3 PG draw. I don't think, like, duh. If you play other perfect guard, you better have a good reason for it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you better have a good reason for it. And then lastly, a over trigger, because that's still a very, very powerful mechanic. Now, why did I choose this one over all the other one? Because technically, we have 2 Vanguard attack. So if you happen to hit the over trigger, 2 Vanguard attack plus 10k and a crit, that's still pretty powerful. I hit it once during my whole the 11 games that I play. I hit it once, and it was scary for the other person. That's it for the main deck. We are moving on to the Stry deck. Let's start with the G Guard, because I think that's one of the more important thing that define this format. I play 2 of these. Flexion Chimera. I used to I used to G Guard more into other G Guard, but honestly, Flexion Chimera, it worked strangely really well with this deck, because interruption on the opponent attack phase aside, like that's an amazing interruption if you play it correctly. It allowed me to put 2 cards into my soul. Say one of the game I drew into my Cat Knight. Oh no, I kind of don't want to draw into it. I want it either in the deck so I can search out with Dancing Princess, or in the soul already. But lo and behold, here we are. It's in my hand. I was able to put it into the soul because of this guy. Not only that, I was also able to put Lord Pigeon Pop into the soul to set up for the upcoming turn, or I could put Starry Pop Dragon into the soul to like protect him from like hand rip or binding and all that stuff. I think playing 2 of these is pretty good. The space in the G deck isn't really that, like, they're not fighting for space at all, so don't you worry. 1 Furnival. I went into this like once just to like put more stuff into the soul. You don't really need more than 1. And then the other G Guard that I go into a lot beside Flexion Chimera is Wandering Dragon, because it's just good. I soul charge 1 and I push 1 thing out from the soul to help me protect. Most of the time it is the Magia doll stuff, so that way it just go back in the soul afterward. Fun. And then I do play 1 Doting Harlequin Maha. Honestly, I might take this card out of this specific deck because I never went into her. I do run 5 G Guard. I never play her, so honestly I can take her out for a different G Guardian. Honestly, I might take her out just to put in another Stry. But yeah, she is good in the OG Harri or the Mask Phantom Harri, but she's not good in this one. 1 Harmonic Messiah. You need this card if you're gonna play premium. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. And then we're just going through all of the one-offs first. 1 Trenchant Megatrick Leontina. I never went into this. The only time I went into this is that one time I was under Gridora, and I was like, wait, no, not even under Gridora. Why did I went into this? I don't remember, but I did went into it once. Didn't really activate the effect. I think it's just like a throwaway turn or something. But I did went into this once. Didn't even use the effect. I just went into it for like striding purposes or something. But you don't really need this card. It's not necessary. You can literally put it with anything else. Another G Guardian if you really want to tickle your fancy. Now, yes, unfortunately, you're gonna have to play 4. Well, in my opinion, you should play 4 of the Masquerade Master Harri. He allowed you to have more attack and possibly stronger attack. Now, my deck doesn't have many cards with Magia, but it does utilize Cat in High Boots, so the power could go to Cat in High Boots. But of course, the more important thing is that you get more attacks out of it. Usually, if the opponent doesn't die by second strike, he'll be my third strike. At that point, if I have to go into a third strike, my third strike will hit such big numbers because of the crest and all that stuff that it's just overwhelming to the opponent. Of course, honestly, the third star of the show is Dark Lord Princess. Now, if you're here, you'll probably know what she does already. She allowed me to stride mid-battle, go into another Magia stride unit, and she pop out to be another 15, just like 15k attacker. But we all know she's not 15k. Most of the time I call her out to the stage, and at that time the stage is at least 10k boost, so she's a 25k attacker at least, and that's like the floor. 25k attacker floor. And lastly, we play one Yvette because we don't really need more than one. Dark Lord Princess could just stroll Yvette from face up, so I don't really need more than one. That's just save some space if you want to be silly and put something else in the G zone. And then of course we need the crest because this is what the deck is based around. Now, the other question would be, do we want to run Force 2 or Force 1? The answer is 99% of the time is Force 2. Force? I am so sorry. It's late. The question is, do we want to go XL2 or XL1? Most of the time, we'll go XL2. I always go into XL2, those 11 games. The one time I ever go into XL1 was like a test game I do with a friend. Majority of the time, we're doing XL2. If you really try to go for, what's his name, Starry Pop 40k with a crit and Sentinel block, it'll stack up because the crest and the XL number will stack up to hit that. Unfortunately, like I say, it didn't happen a lot because by the time that it did, it didn't really matter because Starry Pop Dragon is already so huge. But you know who's bigger? The Lord Pigeon Pop. Because it get 15k because I always pull it out with Yvette to attack. That is it for my deck profile. Once again, I am genuinely surprised I made it this far with this deck. I know the go-to top tier deck is Fenrir OTK and Shout Mill and all that stuff, but I genuinely think right now it is like the Wild West in premium. So bring the deck that you're comfortable with, you know how to pilot through like niche situation and respond correctly to those situations. I think that's more important than follow what you think the meta is, because I'm not saying that the world finalists, I'm not saying that their list is wrong or if their list is not powerful, because it is. Look where they are, they're world finalists. But I do have to say that at regional level and at local level, you should play the stuff you're comfortable with, especially in premium where it's like I say, it's the Wild West right now. But in premium, there is so many situations that you don't see in standard. If you just pick up the deck from someone else and copy it, you won't know how to respond when those situations pop up. If you haven't noticed, my Harri deck have no removal at all. So my opponent could sit around with Hanali and I would be dead. I know how to respond to when I see a Hanali because I know my deck doesn't have removal. So there's no point in me sitting there and like worry about, oh, what am I gonna do if I saw a Hanali? Well, I don't, because I just do my regular play and respond correctly depending on like what I see. If you choose to copy my deck list and you have question, definitely either watch the video again or let me know what question you have so I can clarify it for you, because I like to think my playstyle is pretty weird and some people aren't comfortable with that, test it out on your own. Don't just copy and expect to have the same result. That's basically all I have to say in regards to this open feel that is premium right now. Oh, and also definitely try that format out. It is so much better than standard, in my opinion. Remember to take care of yourself, and I'll be seeing you real soon, my love.